Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're here with some more YNW Melly. Now, we have this father, Mr. YNW Juvy. We have his dad shedding some light on the whole situation about what actually took place. Now, we never really knew motive as to why Melly did what he did, but now he's starting to shed some light on the situation. So let's see what he has to say. It's some heavy shit, so let's get straight into it.
Hey! Yeah, y'all ass, man. Ynw Juvy, get it right. Yeah.
That's Christopher Thomas, known as YNW Juvy. The man accused of murdering him, YNW Melly, is on trial accused of killing another man too. Juvy's dad is here with his story. I'm Anjanette Levy and welcome to Law and Crime's Sidebar Podcast. Testimony is underway in the trial of Jamel Demons, known by his stage name YNW Melly. Melly is accused of murdering two members of his group, Chris Thomas, who went by YNW Juvy, and Anthony Williams, who was known as YNW Sack Chaser. The men were shot to death in an SUV after leaving a late-night recording session on October 26, 2018.
That's Melly right there at the back, I believe. And shout out to Law and Crime because they always get this information on the spot. I mean, I know it's a whole team and all that over at Law and Crime, but man, to keep up with this amount of information all the time, it's quite impressive. So, you gotta shout them out. I get a bunch of my videos from Law and Crime, so if you guys ever want to check them out, go straight to them for the raw interviews and all that good stuff. But look at these two cars, just success. They had the new Jeep, the new Mitsubishi. Didn't know people drove those anymore. And greed, man. I think that's what it all chalked up to be, but let's find out.
With Melly and another group member, Cortland Henry, who went by YNW Bortland. Bortland was driving the SUV. Later that morning, Bortland showed up at the hospital. Juvy and Sack Chaser were dead in the car. Melly was not with them. Chris, first of all,
see how he's over there grabbing his head and walking over to the car? So he just told the officer on site what had happened. Now, if you're lying about this, you have to imagine how traumatic this has to be. You just finished shooting them up, your best friends. That's traumatic enough. Now you got to go and lie to the officer.
I know this has been a difficult almost 5 years now. How are you doing right now with this trial finally starting?
It's kind of overwhelming at times, but doing the best I can at the moment.
A lot of people may not know a lot.
Man, he looks different. Why does he look blacker? He looks like a whole shade blacker, bro. What's going on? That's crazy. He must have really got out of the sun. But nah, this is YNW Juvy's father. If you look at Juvy at a young age, he looks the same. You know what I mean? Just some young bucks out here trying to make some money, and they were making money. That's what's crazy. But let's see what his pops has to say.
About your son. What do you want people to know about him? We know he was, an aspiring rapper. He was part of this YNW group.
Chris was a good kid. He's the second of my oldest boys. He's the oldest of his mom's kids, and he loved his whole family. He loved all his friends, and he just got caught up for being too loyal and got betrayed by one of his so-called friends. It's a sad situation for everybody.
Tell me a little bit about that because, it's my understanding that Juvy was friends with Melly and Sack Chaser for quite some time. Tell me, when did you first come to know Melly?
I met Melly around like 99, like a couple years before Chris met him.
Way back in 99. That's a while, bro. That's damn near his whole life, I feel like
friends with his Melly's mom, best friend at the time. And that's how I got to know Melly. Then Chris got to know him after that. They was all good kids coming up, just laughing, playing, joking with each other, having fun, like to hang out with each other. And he loved them boys, and he loved them to a fault.
Damn, bro. Damn. That's different when you actually grow up together, bro. Like they just grew up, and it seems to me like they weren't gangbanging or nothing. So I feel like it hits different when you're just childhood friends. You're not really getting into trouble. You're just going to school, bullshitting, doing your thing. Like you killed your childhood friends, bro. That's like erasing a part of you, bro. Like I don't. It's crazy.
He was friends with them since they were little kids. Then it sounds like.
Yes, man. They went to elementary, middle school, high school, all together. That's how I
Fuck.
know his mom as well, and his stepdad, and the rest of his family, Melly's family. And the music started, I think, around 2000, maybe 13.
And they were just all making the music together.
Yes, started from rapping at school until making music together and coming up with the name, the YNW, and it just went from there. And Sack and Chris and Melly and even Jay Green was all founder members of the YNW. Melly was just the face of it. I say now that Chris and Anthony is gone, now he just took everything over.
It sounds like your son and the other guys had a lot of really big dreams.
Yes, ma'am, they did.
And their dreams are coming true. That was the craziest part. Everything, like, you know that feeling that you get where it's like everything you work for is coming true, and it almost feels unreal. Now that poison entered somewhere in somebody's mind. I know it. It was over money, and I'm pretty sure it was Melly. You know, he's the one. He's the face. Nobody knows these other kids. They only know him. And instead of being like a young thug to his people, putting everybody on, you know, you're putting on Lil Keed, you're putting on Gunna, you're putting on everybody. I feel like he was on the opposite side. He wanted to make all the money.
Love music, they love to perform, and they was on their way like to do big things, and it just got cut short. This tragedy. Everybody else around still trying to pick up the pieces. Like a lot of families got broken with the situation.
Melly is saying that he is innocent. His defense attorneys are saying the state can't prove its case. But it's my understanding you believed from the very beginning that Melly was responsible for your son's death and the death of Anthony.
From the day one, I believe that Melly was responsible for my son's death on October 26th when I first heard the story, because his explanation when I finally talked to him in Cortland on a FaceTime, their response and how they was reacting, they showed no remorse. They didn't act like they was grieving, like they lost a best friend or nothing. They was, in my opinion, they was in the best spirits. They never came to town, never came to my son's funeral, never came to Sack funeral.
That's a red flag. I mean, if you needed a red flag, that's a red flag. You didn't come to your homeboy's funeral, and that was your partner from children. That's a red flag. You know what I mean? And on top of that, he said it seemed like they were in the best of spirits. Like you couldn't even fake like a little bit of sadness. Like, oh yeah, you know, like none of that. I can't even imagine. And something about Melly, every time I look into his eyes, it seems like he's not all there. It seems like he's just like look at him when we cover the case more in depth and we go throughout. It looks like he's just airheaded. Like he doesn't even like realize the gravity of what's going on. It's like he's not all there.
And these are your best friends. He passed straight through the county of Indian River, went to Brevard and did a music video, but he couldn't even stop and pay his condolences to his best friend's mom. He even got Jana tatted on his neck. That's why his defense attorney got him wearing turtlenecks and shirts to hide his neck, because he got the Jana tatted on his neck. That's Sack mom's name, and he got Chris' name and Sack name. And this guy,
yeah, he's weird.
That guy is just, I have no words for that guy.
What was it in particular that was said on that FaceTime that made you think that Melly was responsible?
Nothing was said. Actually, it was like the demeanor. It was like the body language, really. Like I was just reading them, and as I'm telling them and asking them questions, I got so emotional I started crying. They wasn't reacting. They acted like they didn't have to take a loss at all. That's how I took it. And then when I was talking to them, I still had in the back of my mind that something's not right. Something's not right.
Did they tell you anything about what they claimed happened with the drive-by they claim happened?
No, they had absolutely no explanation. Like, we had to figure it out just like the police.
Chris, why do you think that this happened? Why do you think, Melly did this? Because, Melly is on trial. The state has to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt that he committed these crimes. But why do you think this happened?
I think the story about the 200,000 with Anthony was a true story because it's not reported, but Chris told me the same story, and also it was a $500,000 play, and Melly was going to get 200,000, Sack was going to get 200,000, Chris was going to get 100,000, and as I'm hearing it from Chris, they was going to sell the YNW brand, not a record deal or nothing like that. It was like for the brand itself, and by them being founding members, they was going to get a piece of the pie. So I don't think Melly did it on his own. I think that manager guy got in his ear and did a little divide and conquer. Because if it was up to Sack, it would never be 100K management.
See, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? How much money was on the line? At least 500K, right? Somebody was going to get 200, the other person was going to get 200, and his son was going to get 100K for selling the YNW brand, for branding names and for probably merchandise and shit like that. And that's where the problem came, bro. This is what happens when you come from poverty, I feel like, and you don't know how to act when you get money. All the people that came up with you, your whole backbone, you can't give them 100,000. You can't give him 250,000 to let him invest some shit. See, you're thinking about it wrong. If your team has money, that means you're doing well. If you're the only one that has money and you're giving out money, that just gives you more opportunity to get backdoored by somebody hating on you. If you put your whole team on, you got all these people around you now, around the same level, making big moves. You have a layer to keep away the bullshit. But I'm telling you, people don't think that way. It's just backstab. Get as much money as I could get. Backstab. In his case, the ultimate.
They were going to
shoot your friends up so that you can get the entire amount of money. What, for 500? Bro, you make a portfolio with like half that amount of money, you'll be fine. Like,
sell the YNW name for licensing or to sell products? What do you mean they were going to sell the name?
Pretty much.
For marketing, licensing, stuff like that, I think they want to go up on the bigger umbrella just to push them, I think. Push the brand more global. That's what I'm thinking.
And so you think that Melly wanted a bigger cut of that then?
I think Melly didn't want to give them guys nothing. He wanted to be the only one to shine. And then they came to town next day and gave the mothers 15,000, the other mother 10,000. So I thought to myself, if Sack was going to get 200,000, Chris was getting 100,000. If we could pay these people 25,000, keep 275,000, that's how I saw it. It just nothing added up. Melly still to this day for me to hear him call them boys his best friend is an insult. That is an insult.
Was there any sign of bad blood before your son's life was taken and before Anthony was killed? Or was there any tension there that you knew of?
Not with Juvy, not with Chris, but you heard things about him and Anthony getting into like altercations about disputes about money over certain situations, and they got in a fight prior to that, and they said, like, the story that they say Sack beat him up and knocked his goals out in front of his girlfriend, and like 2 days later, I think that's when the incident happened.
Yeah, see, money, man. You get success. That's why you should just come up on your own. Don't create too many things with too many people. Focus on yourself. Make your money, and then when you're established, maybe bring a few people on after you have the reins completely on your situation. When money comes in, it changes people. It makes people turn to assholes, man. And it's better that you have your money maker that you can control without anybody that can tell you anything else. You know what I mean? Find that side hustle, find that money maker, and do it your way. You know what I mean? Do it your way. You don't have to worry about anybody backdooring you. If you make $1 million tomorrow, all you got to do is worry about taxes. You don't have to worry about your partner coming over to sue you over something or to try to shoot you up and take all the money in this particular case. You know what I mean? Work in silence and work hard. That's pretty much all I could say.
Chris, I know that something that has to be really hard about this is the fact that there are relatives here, relatives of Cortland Henry, who are also relatives of the victims.
Yes. Chris and Cortland share a sister, and she's my daughter. Her and Chris had the same dad, which is me, and her and Cortland share the same mom. And she took the side of Melly. She still to this day screams Free Melly all on her Facebook, Instagram. She'll go live
Oh,
with
that's a
Free Melly
damn
shirts,
shame.
and they just got her brainwashed with the money. They just showering her with gifts and Cortland and got my daughter just brainwashed to the fact that she wishing the killer of her brother was free. I just don't understand that.
Wow, so there's actually family members tied in with Bortland. You know, she's a family member of that side too, but her own brother, you know what I mean? She's not supporting. That's crazy. I'll be turning in my grave. I'll be like, "What?" I mean, it's so obvious that he did it. I mean, it's super obvious that he did it, to be honest. I can't even say anything else. If he gets found not guilty, it's only because he had good lawyers and they didn't have enough evidence. But who else did it? You know what I mean? Who else can we look at who possibly did it? They didn't have any ops. I don't even think they were really gangbangers. I think they said he was like a blood or something, but I don't even believe that. I mean, everybody wants to claim a set nowadays.
That's a heartbreaking feeling, man.
Unless you're from LA, I don't, and you say you're banging or whatever, I don't believe you. Only if you're from LA, then I'll listen.
For me to see that daily, her saying that, that's just heartbreaking.
Do you talk to your daughter about this?
We haven't talked. She was living with me up until the time shortly after the funerals, and then we went our separate ways. I haven't talked to her in over 2 years.
So it sounds like you've lost 2 children.
Damn.
Yes, ma'am.
Why'd she have to say it like that? She didn't have to say it like that. Jeez. It seems like you've lost 2 children. Like, jeez, lady.
Me the most, and it's crazy.
Are you hoping that this trial, maybe at the end, things can change with your daughter?
Yeah, once she see the truth and them boys get convicted, I'm hoping that her whole demeanor change. But knowing them, they're going to be like, wait till the appeal. He's still innocent. Wait till the appeal. But just have to wait and see, man. It's going to be a process.
I know you watched a lot of the first day of the trial. How did you feel it was going so far? And have you watched today as well?
Yes, ma'am. I think it's going pretty good. It's just a long process. Just got to trust the process in my book. And I think she's doing a good job. I think once the ballistic, the forensics, the cell phone, and when it showed that Chris got shot on his left cheek and the back wrist, he got shot from this side of the car in his left cheek with stipling on his face and the burn marks on his face from the gun muzzle. All that's going to point in one direction to that guy that was sitting in the back driver's side.
Yeah, at first I thought they were reaching for straws, but it's pretty clear cut. Like, there's an angle of like 3 bullets that go like in the direction of the back passenger left seat, like back passenger driver's seat, to the other seats, right? As if he just shot bang and then bang. Then there's the quote unquote drive-by bullets that hit the side of the car perfectly straight across, and then that hit the back of the car perfectly straight forward. So there's an inconsistency in terms of a natural angle to where someone would have shot, as opposed to like a feeling staged just shootout, like just shooting the car in one direction. They should have thought deeper.
And Christine Bradley, the prosecutor, had said yesterday that the medical examiner is going to testify that before the shots were fired into the vehicle, that your son and Anthony, they were already dead. And when those shots went into the vehicle, they had already been shot, and the fatal shots came from the back seat. And that's the testimony that's expected.
Yes, ma'am. From my understanding, yes, the shot that Chris left cheek was the fatal shot that took him out. And then when he staged the drive-by, the shots from the back, they could tell by the way Chris' body was slumped over how, like, it was staged after the fact. Yeah, that's going to come out. I can't wait. That's going to be, like, breaking news. It was Chris wasn't killed in the drive-by. I know that for a fact.
Well, I wanted to play some clips from the trial so far. And Chris, I want to get your feelings on some of what was said in opening statements. This is Christine Bradley, the assistant state attorney, talking about what amounts to possibly a confession in this case.
So in summary, the last thing I want to tell you that the evidence will show is that in the Instagram, because the defendant had a moderate social media following at the time of these events, people are reaching out to him. Some fans, some friends, some associates. You'll see on October 26th, after about 8 a.m. in the morning, Eastern time, multiple messages are coming in. Messages are coming in from individuals checking to see if he's okay, if he's been injured in this drive-by. If it's true that Anthony Williams, who's also sometimes referred to as Sack, and Chris Thomas, who is referred to as Juvy, are really dead. One individual, and specifically, sends out, and I want to quote the message exactly that you will hear, and says, right after this, "Yo, homie, you good? Let me know something." And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is where context matters. What does that mean? If you work at Google and you say, "My whole floor is coding," that's a good thing. If you work at Broward General Hospital and you say, "My whole floor is coding," that is a bad thing. The context around the messages matters. So in the context of this message, this individual is reaching out, asking if Mr. Demmons is good, after he's been tagged in multiple social media posts about this drive-through, this shooting. And Mr. Demmons responds very succinctly, "I did that." Shh.
Chris, when you heard that, what did you think?
Sound like a cryptic confession to me. Like she said, if you take everything into context, it sounded like he was speaking on the incident that happened, and he admitted to doing it and said,
I feel like, yeah, but no, at the same time, I don't think they could really use that. Maybe just to put it in the jury's head to think he's guilty. But he was probably on his little demon time shit. He was like, haha, I did that. You know, he was like, oh, I'm so cool. And to think he's texting shit like that after he did that, bro, ooh, I can't imagine, bro.
"Yeah, shh, don't say anything about it." That's how I took it.
And the way he's
What?
smiling right now, bro, the way he's just all giddy and happy and nothing could go wrong. I think he thinks money just means everything. I think he believes that these lawyers are so good that he can't go to jail. That's his little child brain working right now. But I'll let you know firsthand that if his lawyers don't find, the loophole that gets him out of this, he's going to jail. There's too much evidence against him so far, unless they present something absolutely major. But I'm here for it. I'm here for it either way.
It sounds like there's going to be some cell phone evidence presented in this case, some other things. Oh, anything you can share with us about that?
Cell phone evidence will show that Melly was in the back seat. Well, they got the surveillance camera of him getting in the back seat, and they also show with the phone. They show him going around the car twice, like shooting up the car or whatever. And then once he gets out the car, they have him getting out the car as well, and on the side of the road. Then he made the FaceTime phone call to Felicia Holmes, Mariah Hamilton's mom, and she's going to testify to that she saw him on the side of the road in the bushes talking about he think that Juvy and Sack was murdered or dead or whatever. And in my opinion, like at that time, like who told him that? So he had to have knowledge of something. So I just think, in my opinion, in my opinion, but me, it was an open and shut case. I think Melly is guilty as charged, and
Look at his hair. Oh my goodness. They don't have the guy in the jail that could twist your hair for you. Look at that shit, bro. Just cut it off. It looks like a rat's nest, bro. Just cut it off. You'll be happy. His scalp is over there screaming, bro. He refuses to let it go. He's still YNW Melly in his head. He's still the rock star. Let me tell you something. Everybody forgot about him. Up until now, everybody just wants to see what happens. And guess what? If he gets out and makes music and blows up, he's back on. People, but the thing I'm trying to say is people don't care about you. If he doesn't, if he gets locked up, if he gets locked up for 5 years, and comes back out, people won't care about him. In his head, he thinks he's still on top, but his entire reputation is based on what he can do for you right now. And right now he's in jail. So, that smile on his face is definitely going to change if he gets found guilty. And that death penalty is looking real spooky right now.
In my opinion, but me, it was an open and shut case. I think Melly is guilty as charged, and I wish nothing but the death penalty for him.
Let's listen to Christine Bradley again talking about Instagram messages and this whole thing about the loyalty oath to the gang.
From the Instagram, from the private messages, was that Jamel Demons is
they keep pushing this gang shit.
Shine Blood set.
The Shine Blood set. Bro, they weren't no gangbangers, please. They keep pushing this gang bullshit. This has nothing to do with why he shot up his friends. This has everything to do with money. Do you think the Bloods support you killing your best friends? Like, get the fuck out of here, bro.
This is not a stage personality. This is not an actor that's playing a character. This was his real life. Ladies and gentlemen, you will see that as soon as October 24th, 2 days before the homicide, Jamel Demons is learning the oath of loyalty to the G-Shine Blood set.
Has nothing to do with anything.
You're going to see things in these messages that will be indicative of Blood membership.
Your thoughts on what Christine Bradley said there. Do you think that your son's death and Anthony's death was in any way related to any type of gang initiation process?
No.
From the text messages and from what I heard her tell me about the text messages, I think so. Because
no, and I'll tell you this man is gonna say anything to make Melly look bad. So I think so. Yeah, he's a Blood, he's a Crip, he's everything. He's a GD at the same time. And like he doesn't care. As long as Melly goes to jail, that's all he matters. That's all he cares about. But let's be real. This had nothing to do with him becoming a member. Like they don't condone you offing your friends. You go out and hit a lick somewhere or do something crazy in the streets. You don't go and off your friends. So that's a hard no. And they're just pushing that shit because they're probably some black kids and they look all grimy and shit. But like hell nah. He wasn't no, please.
it's other text messages. I don't want to divulge too much information that's going to come out that's going to support that theory.
Let's look at the defense now. Melly's defense attorney obviously saying he's innocent, that they can't prove this. So let's listen to David Howard.
That's the first indication that they're just guessing and don't know what they're talking. And that, ladies and gentlemen, by itself is reasonable doubt. Why he would commit such a heinous crime against his own two best friends for no reason.
Oh, there's a reason. 500,000 is a lot of money.
What happened here is that the lead detective, Detective Moretti, saw a video of Mr. Demons getting into a car 40 plus minutes before bodies were found in that car. And then he discovered that Mr. Demons was a rising star. And from that point on, he decided he's the only person that could have committed this crime. Because if you're involved in prosecuting a star, you become a star. This was his big break. and he had tunnel vision. He zeroed in on this person. This young man is the only possible perpetrator of that crime, to the exclusion of all other leads and evidence.
That's crazy. This lawyer, man, that's why they get paid the big bucks. He's calling out the prosecutors, like he's calling into question their character. He's like, oh yeah, they saw Melly was a star, so they want to be stars too. They're like, oh yeah, that'll put us on the map. And hey, that could be true. You know, they might be hyper focusing Melly, but who else is there to focus? What other leads are there, bro? You know what I mean? From the second they tell me that the crime happened here on this highway and there's a complete lack of evidence, nothing's found, and then we go to another area where your cell phone just happened to be traced there, and now all the crime scene evidence is there. Please, man, open and shut, in my opinion. But you know, maybe it's not that simple.
Chris, what did you think when David Howard said that?
It was all just something that made up. I don't believe nothing that he was just saying. Because, like, that's the same theory that his managers was pushing on us. Like, oh, it's not Melly. You know how the white man always trying to take the black man down and this, that, and another. He's just a successful black guy. I don't want to hear none of that. That's not true. If anything, why him? Why Melly? Why just put this on him? Why Melly? It don't make sense. They just
Melly need to cut that hair.
Like throwing stuff to the wall, hoping it stick.
David Howard also says that the police botched this investigation. Let's listen to him talk about that.
They don't follow leads. They have no motive. Investigation was botched. Investigation, as a matter of fact, is still going on as we speak, up to a couple months ago. Yet they're here telling you they have proof beyond reasonable doubt. And what you're still investigating for. The job of the state is to prove it beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. And if you're a reasonable person and you have doubt, that's reasonable doubt. There's a song called Things That Make You Go, If you say that's reasonable doubt.
Okay, but are we saying Are we doing that to most of the evidence, or are we saying oh shit? Because that's what I'm saying. I'm like, oh shit. Cell phone data. Oh, they're matching. Oh, nothing was found. That's what really got me. When nothing was found at the shootout area where they said it happened, and then they find it in a completely different area. This is what they should have did. They should have said from the start, we were going for a little smoke out in a little secluded spot we know, like, nothing was going on over here. We didn't want to get bothered. Then they came up and shot at us and shit. At least the crime scene would have, crime. It would have shells and shit, tire marks or something. They could stage it a little bit better. But you're going to say something happened at a place that never even happened. What, you think the police aren't going to go look? That's what got me. I was like, oh, these guys, they messed up. Fast and loose.
You do not. Ms. Bradley is charming. She's good at her job in some respects. But this is not a popularity contest. We don't give, hey, good effort. We don't give participation awards. This man's life is hanging in the balance. And if there is a scintilla of reasonable doubt, you must have the courage.
Hit me in the comments. What is a scintilla? If there is a scintilla of reasonable doubt, you must do it. What is that, like the smallest unit of measurement? Like, what's going on? Nah, but I get what he's saying, but I don't get what he's saying, because yeah, if there's reasonable doubt, then you shouldn't convict. But bro, where's the doubt? I don't have much doubt. But we're going to get deeper into this case. I really do want to hear what the defense has to say. We got to hear from, YNW Juvy's father, and he is not buying it. He wants, the capital punishment back, He wants all that shit. He wants them out of here. But until then, people, stay inside. You already know the drill. Stay safe. Be careful with the friends you hang around. You know, you start making money, maybe distance a little bit. Figure out who's who. But until then, y'all, see you in the next one. Love y'all.